Hi students, welcome to week 6, which also means the beginning of our second unit on art institutions. I hope that your first essay went well. I'm really looking forward to reading them and giving you some feedback on them. Our second unit, which takes place over the next 5 weeks, is focusing on the institutions that sort of formally share art with us. So you'll see here I have a picture of the Louvre, and you will be reading articles this week about museums and art collections. Next week, the articles will be more about performing arts, so theater, opera, and awards shows. Let's take a quick look at the prompt before we get into what your work is for this week. So this is the prompt. I'll let you read through the whole thing on your own. There's just a couple key points I want to make sure you notice. You're going to be selecting one of the articles that we're reading for this unit. So the first 3 are the articles that we'll be looking at this week about museums and galleries. And then the second 3 are the articles we'll be looking at next week about performing arts. And what you're going to do with this essay that's different from the last one is rather than presenting your response to the topic, you'll be looking at the way the author wrote their argument and explaining whether or not they did a good job. So in this case, you're almost putting yourself in the role of a teacher in terms of evaluating what somebody else wrote. So the main question you'll be answering in your essay is here. To what extent does the author make an effective, logically sound argument? So you'll really look at how they put together their ideas and make sure that it makes sense, right? That it's done well. The second smaller question, but one you should still address in the essay, is would you use this article in a research paper on your topic? Why or why not? And that answer might be briefer. That one may only be a paragraph. So really focus your attention on getting this first question answered. And to help you do that, we'll be doing a number of different activities. And as we did with the first essay, I'm breaking this essay down into parts. But the other thing that can help is I included a list of criteria here on the prompt. So if you're not sure how to tell whether or not the author did a good job, here are some things for you to look at, right? You can look at their critical thinking, their rhetoric, their evidence, how they address context, whether or not they use visuals, are their tactics ethical, and what kind of assumptions they're making. So this is a really good place to get started. As you're working on your paper and as you're doing the readings, kind of think about these criteria as ways to make good arguments and think about how well the author of your article is meeting those criteria. The other thing to keep in mind is this isn't necessarily an essay about tearing the article apart just to destroy it, right? You can take apart the article and really think about all its pieces and then still say that the author did a good job. Right? You can acknowledge that the author did good work. If they didn't, you could also acknowledge that the author has problems in their paper. And there can be places in between, right? Areas where the author did well and areas where they have some more work to do. So for your paper, can acknowledge that whole range of possibilities. Let's take a look at Canvas so we can see what work's going on for this week. So here's our Canvas site. You can access the prompt I just showed you here. And then this is all the work for week 6. So under the readings and videos for week 6, you also have a link to the same prompt. This lists the chapter that you're reading, and then you're selecting 2 of the 3 assigned articles. Pick whichever 2 seem the most interesting to you. You'll also be doing a Flipgrid discussion about ethos, pathos, and logos. Please make sure you read this chapter first before you get into the Flipgrid discussion. But then once you've read the chapter, go ahead and jump right into Flipgrid. And then you're writing a short reflection on non-rational appeals, which is also covered in the chapter. So before you jump into the assignments for this week, please make sure that you do the readings from the chapter so that you can do a really good job on the assignments. So that's our work for this first week of the unit. It should give you some time to really think through which article that you want to work on, and also to start getting deeper into critical thinking. You can think about how you're going to apply those ideas from chapter 3 into your next essay. The very last thing we have in the overview for this week is an extra credit question. So for extra credit points, you can go to the readings and videos for this week and tell me one boring thing about yourself. So I'll give you an example. One boring thing about me is that I like green grapes, but not red grapes. Please feel free to share your own boring things so I can get to know you better and so you can get some extra credit. Have a good week, and as always, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about the work we're doing. Take care.